G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Covid Convos, where we have real conversations with real people about what wellbeing looks like in a pandemic. I'm really excited to be here, and we've got the full crew with us today. Do you want to say hi and how you going, guys?
Hey Grigsy, good to see you. Sorry I missed the show yesterday. Getting a little bit chilly. I got the beanie on, but looking forward to the session.
Yeah, man, it's starting to get cold in Melbourne, which is not a good prognosis. But happy to be here today and with a very, very special person who I'm very excited to have a chat with.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got our first guest from South America here today, and very excited to hear how it's going over there. Denise, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm good. Thank you.
So, Denise, how are you seeing everything over in Chile at the moment? What's the situation? What sort of arrangements have you got with your well, I guess, what have the government put in place there?
Yeah, well, it's been pretty awkward here because we've been watching from the news all what's been going on in the world, but here in Chile is not, well, the government haven't done much, and that's, I think, is a worry for all of us. What we have now, well, we have like a capital city in the middle of the country. You know, Chile is a very large country, and the capital is kind of in the center, and it's there where some of the things are happening in terms of putting people safer. So 6 kind of councils or suburbs, if you want, are closed, like in lockdown. Only 6 of them, but just in the capital city we've got like 50 and something, and only 6 of them are closed, and that's all the councils that are closing the country. So this thing started because the government saw that all these suburbs were the common pattern of transport that people used every day to commute to work. So it's like the most used kind of way of transport. So they shut them down so that people are not still crowd in the public transport. But that doesn't mean that people are safe or people are at home all the time, because you can't go out, and that's true. You can't go out in these little councils, but you can still go out if you are from another suburb or another region. So it's kind of complicated. And in the whole rest of the country, there are not very much measures taken right now. So people are still like looking down by themselves, but because we want to, so I'm doing that, and I'm not going out my house, but because I want to, and because I think it's necessary right now. But for example, we know that the coronavirus is present in all over the country. So right now I'm living in the south of Chile, and in my place in this region, which is a little town, we have coronavirus cases here. I think yesterday were 6 or 5, and that's also something that you get worried about. And everyone is the same because the government haven't taken any measures yet here. So actually we are like alone. I feel that, and I think, and I know that lots of my people feel the same. You have to take your own measures. You have to take care of yourself by yourself. So what that's been going on is that in some of the regions, so you can't enter a region of the country without having like a sanitary passport. That's what it's called here. And then that kind of measures how many people goes inside and outside, and sometimes they measure your fever and something like that. But nothing is strict, and you can still move from some regions of the country. So that's the situation, yeah, overall.
Denise, that's interesting. It's yeah, another different take that we find as we have been speaking to people in different countries. It seems to be all variety of approaches to this situation. But in your country, do you think, sounds like a bit of a sort of hands-off approach by your government, but do you think that's a result of not recognising the problem, or not wanting to be overly sort of prescriptive to the population about how they live their lives, or something else?
No, yeah, that's a good question. I think it's actually a concern, and it is a concern for the government, and it's been from like many weeks now. So we can see, like in the movies, in the news, and the government is talking. People from the government, the minister, the president, they are talking all the time, and they're having some of these measures put down all the time, and they have some measures. And I was just talking about the lockdown, because I think that's the most important measure, in my opinion. That's something that we need, and we need it yesterday and last week. We don't need it now or tomorrow. So that's what I'm concerned about. But I think they are having they are taking measures, and they are doing things they feel are fine, but the approach they are taking, and it's very interesting because it's very similar to the UK approach at the beginning. I don't know if you guys remember that the UK was like freezing with any measures at the beginning, and they were not taking people on lockdowns and things like that, and people really needed it, and they were freaking out. And then now we have like lots of people sick, very, very sick in the UK, and lots of death every day. Yesterday, 800, and things are going crazy over there. And I think that's a political approach, and that's a decision to make like everyone that needs to be sick can be sick, and then we're going to take the measures afterwards, and then people who are going to survive, and the crisis is going to happen that way. And I think the measure is really similar here, and that's a political decision more than avoiding the problem or not seeing this as a problem. I think that's a political decision, and I do not agree with that decision. I think we need to, more, but there are some funds that they're putting in place. I think it was like 11,000 million US dollars from the government, for example, to build hospitals and just check the proper measures. And also the sanitary passports that I already told you. I don't know if I'm translating it good, but and things like that are putting in place every day. It's just that I feel that the obvious measure that we need to have right now is to be safe, and having a lockdown throughout the country is the common answer. And also we don't have, like, as workers here, we don't have a law that actually protect people, the working class, to maintain their jobs with total liberty, because we have a law of it's called I don't remember, I have it here, I don't remember the name of the law, but it's like a working law for people who are losing their jobs, and actually there are some funds that are being injected to big and small companies to make people still working, but still it's not something that assure people to not being abused in their jobs. And some people still, they have to work a lot, they are paying less by their employers, and they don't have any protection over that. So actually the employers can do anything that they want with their employees. So it's kind of really worrying situation for lots of people right now. It's a struggling time.
there is so many things in that we really should talk about. The first one that is in my brain is, what is a sanitary passport? And straight after that,
I
I'm
don't know
wondering.
if I'm translating this.
Well,
Yeah.
tell me about it. How do you have one? How do you get one? How does it work? But besides that, we've talked a lot about, I guess, the government and these measures, and all over the world, people are really questioning governmental responses to COVID-19, and that's hard. But I think it all kind of comes down to what is the experience down on the ground. So I'd love to hear about how this is affecting you. What why did you choose to take on lockdown when the rest of your country isn't? And yeah, what's been going on for you? Tell me that.
Yeah. It's a good question. Well, this is affecting everyone in a different way. Everyone is a world. And then for me, it's been, well, I can't deny that I'm very, very lucky, and I'm very grateful for the life that I have in right now, because that's also keeping me on every day. And I think that's one of the things that makes me go on and just survive all these crises, because I could, if I sit in front of the TV watching the news for 1 hour, I will rapidly and easily feel that this is the end of the world, and everything is gonna end up, and actually like death, and everything is fucked up, and I don't want to live here anymore. But the thing that actually allows me to go on my mood and be okay is being grateful for what I'm having right now. And I'm living in, as I told you before, I'm living in the south of the country, and this is actually my very favorite place in the world, I think, or in Chile at least. I'm not sure, but this is a very beautiful place to live, and I love it. And I am in this town. We have a lake and a volcano, and I really, really love it. And I can connect to nature as well, and that's something that puts me on every day. And I'm super, super grateful of being in a lockdown here. And that's also something that allows me to give to people. So I feel that I'm grateful for what I have, and I'm using that to just give to people that are in a worse position. And I have lots of people like struggling a lot, in lots of friends in different parts of the world, and family, and yeah, and I'm trying to do it through my work.
I'm curious because you pointed out, a lot of stuff there about how you're coping and maintaining your well-being through all of this, despite some difficult conditions, like being grateful, connecting to nature, and you also talk about using what you have to help others. I'm just wondering if you can give us some examples, like how are you doing these things? Like, how does that look where you are?
Yeah, sure. Well, the connection to nature, I'm also really lucky, because it's actually kind of funny. We don't have a washing machine here in my house, so we have a washing machine in the countryside, which is like 30 minutes by car, and because my partner's parents have a little house in the countryside, and there's a washing machine. So actually we had to go there. I mean, we try to go there every week to wash our clothes. And then that's an amazing place to be, and we don't see any people. So I'm super grateful, because I have that, that space every week. And sometimes when we go outside to buy to the supermarket, for example, which is like once every 2 weeks, I go to the lake just for a little while to connect with the water, to see the light, to see the volcano, and just by being there. And this can last like literally 1 minute or 5 minutes, but it's much it's really helpful to feel how it's affecting my bodily sensations and my emotions, and it's something that I can do, so I do it, and it's something that makes me go on. It's like a hug that I give to myself, and that's the part of the nature, and the part of the helping people how I can. When I do it from my work, I'm a clinical psychologist, so I'm working with some of my clients right now, but I'm also actually growing a project that I had on making psychology and therapy closer to people, especially migrants. Because migrants, I was a migrant, and I'm still are, and I know how difficult it is to cope with your mental health when you're a migrant. And one of the things that have helped me a lot to survive in my migration experience is therapy. So I'm putting out a very big project with very good friends, Latin American friends, to make therapy closer to migrants in all the world. So Latin American people who speak Spanish and who don't have the money to pay for therapy in their countries when they live, for example, in an English-speaking country or another language-speaking country, they can connect with a Latin American counselor or psychologist, and they can have therapy in their language, in their culture, but also in less money, in the money that they will pay in their countries, which is always something that you can do if you're living in a first world country and you're from Latin America. So I'm trying, actually we're putting up this thing now, and through the platform, which now is an Instagram webpage, I'm doing my best to put all the information that I have in friendly words to make people understand what's going on with the crisis in their lives. So, for example, we're talking about how to deal with emotions in very easy steps, or what are somatizations. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but it's like when your body is affected because of your feelings. And so we are trying to put a lot of information, and I'm trying to make that information pass like through my friends, my family, and everyone that I know, because I know I don't know anyone that is not affected from this, and I'm just trying to give away information just to make people know what's going on with them, and that make them feel that it's good to feel bad, because everyone feel bad, and that's something that for me makes me survive to this, just to understand and just to do something for other people, and to make sure that everyone that I know can understand how to do something with their own lives. And I'm very grateful, because I know I have this information, but I think this information should be for everyone in the world. So that's something that I'm doing. And
Denise, that sounds like a really worthwhile and interesting project. I look forward to hearing how it goes, and good luck with it. It sounds like it can give a lot of value to people. And I'm just on that track. I'm just interested. This is probably a big question, but what do you think is the future of your profession post-COVID? So I was thinking about this the other day, and whether it will increase the amount of people who need to see a therapist, especially in a clinical setting, or increase because of obviously the trauma that will occur throughout the next year or two for the different things that will occur in people's lives. And on the flip side, the fact that financially it might be less viable for them to go and see a psychologist due to loss of work. What are your feelings on that?
It's a good question. asked myself that question before, but I think that this is actually a moment of a lot of change, and not only political, economical change, but also internal change. And I think all the time when you are in a situation where you are dealing with the uncontrolling situations, you are dealing with yourself and in controlling yourself as well. So this is a moment for a lot of people to get inside themselves and to grow themselves. And I think that it's really special in that point of view. A lot of people is going inside, and it's understanding what's going on with me, what's going on with my body, and how to make myself healthier in a physical way, in a mental way. So I think there is lots of chances, big chances, that people can, after this crisis, can be more aware and can be more self-concerned, for saying in a way, not like in a selfish way, but just to understand more about themselves. And that's pretty good. And I don't know how that could impact in the therapy setting, because actually, if people are aware of themselves, that can be actually pretty good. And because I know it, because I've studied it and I work with it, I know that if you're more aware of yourself and you work with yourself in your own life, then you don't need to see a therapist, because you can actually rely on your own resources. But also can imply that you need to talk more, and you need to understand things about you, and you need to heal more, and you are aware of what you need to heal. So actually it can be both ways, and it's a very, very good question. I hope people can be more aware of what they need in their lives, and they can, after this crisis, start recognizing the resources that they've got. That's the aim of my profession, and what I just want for the world. And I think it's a good opportunity to start in doing it. And there's lots of easy resources right now, like lots of people like me are giving away therapy, or giving away, like, and offering for free, like therapy, resources, information to be with yourself. And that is a pretty good moment to do it. Yeah.
First off, I want to say amazing work. I love you. It's just so kind,
I love you too,
and beautiful that the team that you have over there in South America is doing that. I know for me, we've been talking about people with disadvantage, homelessness. We've been talking about domestic violence rates going up, but I haven't thought about migrants. And there are plenty of migrants in Australia right now that are over here, and they maybe don't have the protection.
Exactly.
They don't have the things that are going on with the government that we're getting, and they don't have the support either. So it'd be amazing to pass that on to different communities and share that. The second thing I really want to pick up on that you've brought up for me is there's been a lot of talk about change, how we're in a moment of change. But I think a lot of people see that as understanding that the systems that we work with, aren't as stable as we thought they were. There's a fragility that we're talking about. But what you brought up is a different type of change, which is people have never been more thinking about their health. Their health is, at the front of their mind, right? In different ways. Like with COVID, everybody's concerned with how healthy am I, because there's a direct link right now. But that's extending beyond just physical health. That's mental health and all these other things. And I know us in this well-being space, we've always kind of waited for that time for people to see how important all of this is. And I think what you're finding there is people are kind of ready now. They're understanding that at the end of the day, all they really have is this body and this mind. And if you're not taking care of it, then, what have you really got? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's so important to get that. I mean, in my and I'm talking about just my personal experience with my friends. who sometimes didn't know that they were feeling bad before in the past, but they have been this, for example, physical reactions in their body all the time, and now they know, and now they are connecting. Or maybe this is because I'm worried that I'm going to the supermarket, or this is because I know that a friend of a friend has COVID, and things like that. And this started with this, and yeah, people are starting to make connections with themselves. And this is really, really, really important. I think we are in a moment of internal change. And in Chile, actually, this started last year because we had a social crisis, like a very big impact of everyone. This social crisis was because of the government as well. People are very unsatisfied with the government. This is Chile. I don't know if you know, or if I told you before, but Chile is one of the most unequal countries in the world. They have like a high class, very, very rich, and then a lot of people who are in a very vulnerable positions. So people are tired of that, and this internal change started in October last year, and people started changing and started protesting and started changing things here. And I heard about that internal change a lot, and now with this, it's like summing things one on top of the other, and it's gonna be big. It's being big.
Denise, we're almost out of time. Unfortunately, it absolutely flies when we're having a conversation like this, but I'm just wondering if there is anything that we haven't yet asked you about that you maybe wanted to chat or discuss with us.
I don't know. No, I think I already told you. Yeah, everything.
There was definitely a lot of information where we covered a lot of different areas, and it's amazing what you can get through in 20 minutes.
I still don't know what a sanitary passport is. Please, someone tell me.
Well, actually, it's just a document. It's something that you need to carry on to be able to move from one. So
how do you get one?
Chile has like 15. No, it's something that you need to what's the word? It's like an administration, administration document. I don't have the word. I'm so sorry, but it allows people to move from one region to the other.
So is it like you can't get one? It's given to you if you have to move.
Yeah, and it's something that can make different councils sure that you're okay, that you're not having fever, or you can actually move from one region to the other in the regions that have this measure put in place, because it's not for all the country. Maybe there must be another word for it. I'm sure you guys in Australia also have something like that, but it's just a matter of translation.
I don't think we do. And Krugsy's shaking his head as well. I
think you do, because what I've heard from some friends that you couldn't move with more than 2 people in Australia.
Yeah.
And going to the beach, you had problems and things like that. Maybe there's some kind of registration process that you have to do as well.
In Australia, it's not really registration. It's kind of like you have to be doing a certain something. So, for example, construction is still going out. If you're a construction worker, you're allowed to be on construction sites. If you're a teacher, you're allowed to be in schools and be outside and stuff. If you're outside, then you can't be gathering, right? So if police see you gathering, they'll split you up. But there's no kind of document or paperwork to allow you to go safely. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was just going to say, it brought up a funny image that I saw last night when you were saying sanitary passport, because I saw people who haven't got masks have actually been using sanitary napkins and cutting holes and putting two elastic bands around to make a mask. So I was just wondering whether there was any connection there, but I don't think so. Denise, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. It's been a real pleasure having you on, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Okay, thank you guys so much for having me. And I'd love to share a little bit of here of my country, my world with you. And I really like what you're doing. This is an amazing idea. So thanks to you a lot for your work. You've been working so hard.
Thank you so much. And it doesn't feel like work actually, then we have good conversations with good people. So yeah, but thank you very much for that, Denise. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and just like to remind you to subscribe, like and share if you could with as many people as you feel necessary. In the meantime, guys, you stay healthy, world.